Hey James, this is our demo for Group 117 Streamingwars project. So you see right here, this is our front end. It's a very simple front end where we just have a text box where users can write commands similar to a command line, and then a checkbox to determine if you're an admin or a regular user. This is important later on that I'll show for one of our modifications that we decided to implement, specifically auditability. Um, so let's just start. Let's just pretend I'm a general user right now. I'm not an admin. Um, so as we know, for the Streaming Wars project, we are going to be creating demographics, streams, studios, events, and then their interactions between those objects. And so let's first start with creating a demographic. Um, First, let's create a demographic where it represents adults and it represents users that are older than 18. And we're going to say that we have 200 right now in our application that fit this requirement. And so once you submit it, this communicates to the backend, and we have created the demographics, and it's stored in our database. Let's just go ahead and store another one. This time we're going to create a demographic for kids. And again, this is users between the age of 13 and 18. And let's say we have 50 in this group. Okay. And then now let's make sure that this has propagated to our database in our backend. And we can do this by displaying the demographic by using the command display demo. And let's look at the adults. So we see here the short name that we gave it was adults. The longer description was users older than 18. The size we gave it was 200. And right now they haven't done anything within our application. So their current spending, previous spending, and total spending are all 0. We can do the same thing for kids. So let's just do this really quickly. And again, you can see all that information has been stored. So then now let's create a stream. So the stream that we're going to be creating is Netflix. The longer name being Netflix Company, and then let's say that the monthly rate is $15. So we send that and we get the response back that has been created correctly. Let's go ahead and create another one. This time being ESPN. So ESPN Company, and let's say it costs $20 for monthly rate. So it's been created, and let's just make sure that the Netflix has been created by doing the display stream command. So we can go ahead and see again that we have actually stored it in our database. Okay, now let's create some studios. Studios are important for representing who created movies or videos within our service. So let's say we're going to create a Paramount studio, and the longer name being Paramount Company. So it's created. Let's do another one. This one being UFC. So let's say UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship. So this studio has been created, and let's just really quickly show that we can show that the UFC is within our database now by using the display studio command. It shows right here the information about the studio that we just created. Now let's create some events. The first one being this movie called Cat, developed in 2020. That lasts 60 minutes, and the studio that produced it was Paramount, and the licensing fee is $80. Okay, so then the event has been created. Let's create another one. This one pertaining to the UFC. So this one is the pay-per-view event, MMA 2021. 120 minutes, UFC, and $500 licensing fee. So a little bit more expensive. And then let's make sure that these events have been created in the backend. So let's do display events. And we can see that the two that we created are in fact here, where the first one is the movie Cat 2020, duration 60, the studio being Paramount, licensing fee being 80, and then the following one where it was the pay-per-view event. Now let's create the offering. So now we're linking the streaming service to the actual event. So now we're linking, let's say that Netflix is now offering the movie Cat, the event Cat that we just created. And so we just created that, and then let's link ESPN, the streaming service, with the MMA event. So after you do that, we can then display the offers to make sure that we see who's offering what. So the Netflix is offering Cats, the movie, and then ESPN is offering the MMA fight, the pay-per-view one. And so now let's actually do a viewing. So let's say the kids were interested in watching the cat movie, so we do a watch event command where the demographic kids, and let's say 50% of the demographic watched the event, the Netflix and Cat 2020. So then we record that information, and then let's do the same kind of activity but for adults, and then let's say 25% are watching ESPN, the MMA fight. Okay, so now that these activities have been recorded, we should be able to bring up the demographics and the streams to show that these transactions have been recorded. So if we do display demo kids, we can see that the spending for the kids have been accounted for because they watched the movie Cats, and this takes into account the licensing fee, the streaming services fee, and so this is all being calculated in the backend and stored within the demographics. We can also see that the adults should also be altered. So let's just do display demo adults, and we can see that the current spending, because they watched the MMA fight, is 3,000. So the transaction cost is changed. And then this is also recorded in the streams entity within our database. So if we look at the stream, we can see that they made $375 Netflix because of the kids watching the Cats movie, and then the stream for ESPN, 3,000 because of the adults watching the MMA fight. Okay, and now let's look at one of the new methods that we're adding for assignment 6, which is the retracting an offering method. So the method that I'm going to call right now is retract method Netflix Cat 2020. So recall earlier we added this offering from Netflix, the movie cast, the event cast that we created earlier. So we can go ahead and retract it, and so that when we do display offers, you'll see that the Cats is then removed from the offering. And now, kind of like earlier when we did the transaction, when we did the watch, you may have noticed that there's a current and there's previous period and there's total. This is important because we have this internal clock that we use that starts on October 2020, and so we're taking information and transactions and we're recording that per month. And so you see the earlier for the adults, they spent $3,000, the demographic $3,000 watching the MMA fight. You can then move to the next month by doing the next month command, and this will push it to November, so we can see and we can verify with the display time that we are in fact in November now. And so that when we go ahead and look at these display stream ESPN, we can see that the previous period is now accruing the amount, and the total is just adding from all previous months. And this is also true for the adults demographic. So we can go ahead and put that in. You can see that it's moved forward. So now let's again move to assignment 6, new requirements, and this is updating. So updating demographics, updating streams, updating kind of offerings. This is kind of like what we're doing. I guess the updating offerings was the retracting the movie that we showed earlier. So I'm gonna go ahead and show the updates for demographic and stream. So I'm just gonna go ahead and create this new senior demographic that is right now users older than 65. So I can go ahead and display it. You can see it's here. Then I can do an update. When I do an update, I said it's going to be now be users older than 60 instead of 65. I can then display this demographic and see that it's now updated. And this is also true for streaming, so let's go ahead and just do a quick streaming example. So let's create a new Hulu streaming service that has a $20 monthly rate, and then so we can go ahead and do a display stream Hulu to show it again, and then let's update that stream to now be $30 a month instead of 20. And so now it says it's been updated, so let's go ahead and then display it and show that it is in fact updated. And so that's kind of all we have for the endpoint requirements and methods to be implemented. So as you saw, we have implemented all of the necessary requirements, but we also added modifications, right? And that's in the form of auditability, archivability, and scalability. And so for auditability, it's when admins are able to see the logs of users, and so that admin can see it but users cannot, and also it's not possible to corrupt or alter these logs, right? And this is important for if something fails in our system, we're able to pull up the logs and figure out what command caused the failure. And so you can see here we have this that I mentioned earlier, that this checkbox, I am admin user. So right now I've been doing all the commands in user mode, and as a user you can't do this command show logs. Show logs is the admin command that allows you to pull up all the logs. So when you do show logs as a regular user, it gives you back that you're not an admin, and so you can't see logs. But if I then become an admin, let's say that now I'm logging as an admin, and I click this, I can see all of the previous logs, and actually the status of the user. So you can see here near the bottom, just the last call I did was under user, and then now I did it under admin. And so you can see all of the possible logs that have been going through our system. So this allows us to achieve auditability. Another project modification that we did was introducing archivability into our project. Each entity that's stored into our repositories have a creation date, and we want to be able to purge all of the entities that are there before a certain amount of time, right? So that we can keep our repositories up to date with the most relevant information. And because we did all of our repository additions today, it doesn't really make any sense to purge those events. But we added a override event creation dates method so that we can push back some of the creation times, so that we can then use our purge old events method to then get rid of all of the irrelevant events. So first, let me create this event, being Mulan, and so you can see that the event has been created. We can then, because it's created right now, it's gonna have our current date time associated with the entity. But then let's go ahead and push back the creation date to the 1900s. Right, so you can see here that the event creations have been overridden. And then let us purge old events. And so this purges all events that are, 10 years ago, or that are older than 10 years ago, and obviously 1900 is older than 10 years ago. So it's going to delete that event. So it hopefully deleted Mulan. So let's go ahead and show display events. And so we see that it actually purged all of the events that were before that time. And so this allows us to get rid of all irrelevant information in our databases, and this will allow us to achieve archivability. So for scalability, as a project modification, we decided to deploy our system onto AWS on an EC2 instance so that we can utilize the auto scaling feature that AWS provides. And this would allow us to achieve scalability. And so right now I'm going to be talking over a video because the credentials to get into the AWS instance is owned by my teammate. So I'm just going to talk over his video that he sent me going through the instance. So you see here, this is where the configuration for our deployed system is, and then he's going into the auto scale grouping. And so this is actually the automatic scaling that AWS provides us. And so you can see it's linked to our CS 6310 project. And so now he's going back to the configuration page, and then he's going to go to this address and show you that it is in fact our system. So now he's going to a new browser and now going to the address, and you can see that it is linked to our system. And so this will allow us to utilize the auto scaling that AWS provides. And so this will allow us to achieve scalability within our project. So just wrapping up everything together, we went through the demoing of all the requirements that were first introduced in assignment 3, and then the methods, the update methods and retract method that was introduced in assignment 6 within our system, as well as the project modifications that we implemented into our project, being auditability through the show logs and the admin access, the archivability through the persistence of the database and storing the information or purged information, and scalability through the AWS deployment, so we can utilize the auto scale feature within AWS. And so yeah, hopefully you enjoyed our demo, and thanks for your time.